A shocking scene has just shaken the international public. In a short clip widely spread on social media, Taehyung was seen hastily leaving the United States and returning to Korea only hours after his name became a major spotlight as the first pitcher in the baseball game at Dodger Stadium. This sudden decision immediately raised a wave of questions. What exactly happened behind an agenda that looked so chaotic and full of pressure? Why did someone who had just appeared on the stage of honor have to be flown back immediately, as if there was no room for pause, when that moment was clearly a monumental achievement that should have been celebrated in peace? Taehyung's haste cannot be considered an ordinary coincidence. Many parties have begun questioning whether the schedule being carried out was truly arranged professionally, or rather reflects the existence of serious irregularities in artist management that should prioritize the health and balance of every member's schedule. The oddity became even more apparent when the public compared it with the activities of other members, which, though busy, still seemed more measured, not as intense and as harsh as the agenda imposed on Taehyung. This fact further strengthens speculation that there is something unusual, even perhaps deliberate, in the scheduling that entraps Taehyung. Critical questions then arose. Is HYB truly incapable of arranging agendas while considering the health, stamina, and mental condition of its artists? Or is there another factor deliberately pushed to burden Taehyung with excessive weight? Many fans voiced concern that what Taehyung experienced was not merely a technical error, but rather a form of unfair treatment that is increasingly difficult to understand. How could an artist who had just marked a global achievement be forced to endure such a dense agenda without rest? Jungkook, known as someone highly sensitive to internal dynamics, seemed unable to hold back his disappointment any longer. He openly questioned why it was always Taehyung who appeared to be treated by a different standard. For Jungkook, this is no longer a matter of a busy schedule, but rather about the professionalism of management that should guarantee equal treatment among members. His remarks resonated widely among fans, reinforcing the view that there is a real crisis of justice behind the scenes of an industry that has long been presented as full of glory. The anger and disappointment of ARMY swelled further after witnessing how rushed Taehyung's return was. They considered the move a clear symbol of management having no clear priority other than to completely drain the artist's energy, without regard for personal balance. How could an event as grand as Dodger Stadium, which is clearly a prestigious international stage, be immediately followed by the obligation to return to Korea without allowing space to breathe? Shouldn't such a moment be an opportunity to build wider interaction with the international world? Those questions now echo across various platforms, sparking heated debates that continue to spread. Some suspect that this tight schedule is merely part of a bigger strategy to separate Taehyung's spotlight from his peers. Others view it as a fatal negligence indicating HYB has lost control over internal scheduling. Even further, there is harsh speculation that management is deliberately pressing Taehyung, whether for internal political reasons or business strategies that do not favor him. Whatever the reason, the public sees this pattern as too consistent to be dismissed as coincidence. This imbalance of treatment is what made Jungkook's comments strike so deeply. He seemed to affirm that the problem is not just about physical fatigue, but also an insult to the professionalism that should be upheld by a giant company managing global talent. If indeed this agenda was drawn up without considering the health and mentality of the artist, then the consequences are not only damaging the company's reputation, but also causing deep wounds for the members directly affected. Jungkook, in a tone of disappointment, signaled that he himself no longer trusted the system at work. Fan reactions grew even more heated when they highlighted the recurring pattern in Taehyung's treatment. They recalled how several times Taehyung had to face sudden schedules, high-pressure agendas, even situations that seemed out of sync with the activities of other members. This fact has raised suspicions that there is a certain motive that continually places Taehyung in a difficult position. Is it true HYB is unable to organize, or is there a systematic effort to shift his position from the main spotlight? This condition has further worsened public trust in management. Instead of displaying a stable image, HYB is now viewed as unprofessional, even seeming to sacrifice the artist's health for certain targets never explained transparently. The big question: how long will this pattern be allowed to continue? Must it wait until Taehyung's physical or mental condition truly collapses before management takes action? It is not only fans who highlight this, but international media has also begun paying attention to this peculiarity. They consider Taehyung's sudden return something unusual, especially after such an important performance on the global stage. Normally, artists are given space to enjoy the moment of success, but the opposite happened. The public was shocked by a sudden move indicating that something much larger is happening behind the scenes. In a broader context, Jungkook's comments serve as a serious alarm about management's integrity. If a BTS member himself dares to question the professionalism of those who should protect them, then clearly there is a major problem that can no longer be hidden. Jungkook seemed to speak not only for Taehyung, but also for himself and other members who may feel similar pressure. Differences in treatment, unbalanced burdens, and inhumane schedules have now become the main issue that must be addressed. For ARMY, this is not merely a debate about an artist's schedule. It is a battle between professionalism and negligence, between justice and discrimination. They no longer see this issue as a small matter that can be excused with technical reasons, but as a systematic and dangerous pattern. The longer it is allowed, the greater the fracture that will arise, not only between artists and management, but also in the eyes of the global public that has long admired BTS's solidarity. Now all eyes are on HYB. Will they ignore this wave of criticism, or finally be forced to face the reality that such patterns of treatment can no longer be accepted? Taehyung's rushed return to Korea has become a symbol of a larger crisis: the failure to maintain balance between business ambition and the dignity of artists. And Jungkook's comment is a stern warning that even the patience of the members themselves has reached its limit. One thing is certain: the public will not stay silent. The big question has been thrown, and whatever answer arises later will not erase the fact that there is something wrong in this arrangement. Taehyung running through the airport under camera flashes is now not just the image of a busy artist, but the icon of an injustice increasingly difficult to deny. This shocking incident involving Taehyung has now developed into a polemic far wider than just a packed artist schedule. The short clip from the airport, public conversations on social media, to Jungkook's harsh comments have shaped a narrative that is confusing while inviting serious questions. How could a global artist who had just stood on the prestigious stage of Dodger Stadium be instantly forced back to Korea, as if there was no room even to breathe? Is this not a clear sign that something is wrong in the agenda's arrangement? Or is all this merely an illusion deliberately built to create sensation? In every public discussion, there are two sharp sides confronting each other. On one side, the public believes that what happened truly reflects serious negligence on the part of management. Yet on the other side, not a few also question whether we are all trapped in a circle of sensationalism deliberately rolled out. The question is, does this incident truly reflect facts as they are, or only a scenario designed to steer public opinion? If so, who is the party that benefits most from this shaking narrative? Taehyung's sudden return indeed appeared real in various recordings. However, do the clips circulating on TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter represent the whole story, or only fragments deliberately shown to form a certain perception? In today's digital era, isn't it true that a short video can easily be manipulated to give an impression different from reality? Are we, as the public, truly witnessing facts, or are we being led to believe in a fabrication carefully arranged? Undeniably, Jungkook's comments added fuel to this debate. He questioned why it is always Taehyung who is burdened with heavier schedules than the others. But the next question we must ask ourselves: did Jungkook's comments truly arise from his personal dissatisfaction, or are they actually part of a larger strategy to send a certain signal to the public? If so, what message is truly being conveyed through those remarks? Is it a real warning about the injustice happening, or only a symbolic cue meant to create dramatic effect in the eyes of the global public? Furthermore, we must reflect. Why did this incident emerge at a time when the world's attention was focused on BTS, HYB, and the dynamics of the Korean entertainment industry? Is it a coincidence that this controversy arose right after Taehyung gained major spotlight at Dodger Stadium? Isn't such timing too perfect to be called a coincidence? Or are we in fact seeing how media and management work together to ensure BTS's name stays at the peak of global conversation? If so, to what extent can we still distinguish between fact and fabrication? On one side, fans believe this is real evidence of management's unprofessionalism. They highlight how Taehyung continues to be treated differently, forced to bear heavier burdens, as if there were efforts to push him away from the center of attention. Yet on the other side, not a few suspect that the public is being exploited. They ask, is it true HYB is unable to arrange a more humane schedule, or are they deliberately creating this narrative of injustice so a global wave of sympathy rises further, boosting Taehyung and BTS's popularity? If so, who is truly being played here, Taehyung as an individual, or the fans who are so easily swept by emotions? Sharper questions must also be asked. Is it possible Taehyung himself is aware of this game? Is he merely a victim of a bigger system, or actually involved in a grand strategy plan from the start? If Taehyung is aware, does he agree with the narrative being built, or is he silent because he has no space to resist? Is it possible Jungkook's loud voice is actually sending a message to the public not to be trapped in a misleading narrative? And if so, who must truly be questioned, HYB as management, or the entertainment industry system itself? We must also acknowledge that most of the information currently circulating originates from social media such as TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter. These platforms are known as spaces where information spreads extremely fast, but often without adequate verification. Thus, the question, to what extent can we trust the truth of recordings or narratives shared there? Are we truly seeing reality, or merely carefully selected fragments meant to provoke emotional reactions? In such conditions, shouldn't we remain skeptical before believing and spreading them further? No one can deny that Taehyung's sudden return is a major and shocking event. Yet does a major event automatically mean a pure truth? Or is this major event only a staged play designed to ensure Taehyung's name remains the world's center of attention? Is it possible we are all part of a sophisticated global marketing strategy, where every artist's step, every member's comment, and even every airport clip is designed for a greater purpose than mere factual truth? Jungkook questioning HYB's professionalism clearly had a dramatic effect. But again, we must ask, did that statement truly come out spontaneously, or was it carefully calculated to create emotional resonance among fans? If it is true Jungkook is disappointed, then why did he choose to voice his disappointment at this moment and not at another time? Could there be a larger scenario behind the timing of that statement? Or is this the natural reaction of someone who has held back for too long? The public is now caught in a dilemma between belief and doubt. Those who believe see this as the peak of long-standing injustice, proof that HYB has failed to maintain balance in its treatment of artists. But those who doubt see this incident as part of a bigger game, a fabrication deliberately created to keep BTS relevant in global conversation. The question is, on which side do we stand? Are we brave enough to admit the possibility that all this is only a stage of sensationalism neatly wrapped? Even further, what if all these narratives, both those defending and those accusing, are merely two sides of the same coin, a communication strategy designed to ensure BTS never leaves the public spotlight? If so, who is truly being sacrificed in this process? Is it Hyung and Jungkook who must bear the emotional burden, or the fans who are continually forced to choose between belief and doubt? At this point, we must all dare to reflect on our own stance. Do we truly understand what is happening, or are we merely part of a great current controlled by media narratives? Are we ready to admit that most of the information we consume may never be entirely true, but only small fragments of a far more complex reality? Or are we more comfortable believing in narratives that stir emotion, even if they do not necessarily reflect the truth? These are the questions we must seriously contemplate. For in the end, this news may not only be about Taehyung, Jungkook, or HYB. This news is also about how we, as the public, choose to respond to every piece of information that comes to us. Will we continue to be passive consumers swallowing every narrative whole, or will we dare to be active critics who question, weigh, and reflect on the truth of every news? Thus, to readers, we pose the final and most fundamental question. Do you truly believe this incident is real, Or is it merely a fabrication designed to attract media attention? Does this article reflect fact? Or is it actually part of a hoax created for sensationalism? Are we witnessing truth, or merely trapped in an illusion built by the grand narrative of the global entertainment industry?